What is going on, everyone? I didn't think I'd be making this video, but Ireland have defeated the All Blacks in New Zealand for the first time in their history. And as a long-suffering Irish fan, well, I mean, I can remember a time when it would be a massive result to get a victory against England or France, and then to get it away was almost unheard of. Like, I mean, then it kind of, after England won the World Cup, and it kind of became a thing. Then beating England wasn't all the rage anymore, and then like Ireland figured out a way how to beat France home and away, and then we were like beat Ireland were beating all the teams in the Six Nations, and then Ireland would only play, the Southern Hemisphere teams once a year, if that, depending on like who they had in their schedule. And Ireland they'd beat Australia and South Africa and like Argentina and stuff like that at home in the November series, but it didn't really mean a whole lot because when it came to the World Cup and stuff like that, they just didn't seem to matter who they were playing. Like Ireland weren't making it out of the quarterfinals. It was almost like a curse, and the same way it was with playing New Zealand. It was just like it was like the boogeyman. You know what I'm saying? Like it was you were more kind of like hoping. It was more of a kind of like how hopefully we don't get beaten too bad. It'd be nice to win, but hopefully we don't get beaten too bad. And then like I remember Chicago, and that was huge. Like that was huge, right? And then it kind of became a thing like, okay, like on a good day with a home crowd behind Ireland, they can beat the All Blacks. But going to New Zealand was always going to be a different kettle of fish, and it's not just like that for Ireland. It's like the same thing for every team. Like I think the last time a Northern Hemisphere team went to play three tests, it was France, and then before that was Wales. France 4 years ago, Wales 6 years ago. They both got spanked. Do you know? Like they both got spanked. Now the French team back then wasn't quite as good as the French team now. But Wales have been Wales for the last 10 or 15 years. Sometimes they're the best team in the Northern Hemisphere. Sometimes they're shy. Do you know what I'm saying? That's Wales. Like, I mean, but like, yeah, like I admit, I'll hold my hand up. Yeah, like I just didn't see it. I didn't, because how was an Irish team that was starting like 14 out of the 15 starting players that just lost by 23 points to the All Blacks a week ago? How is that team gonna turn it around to an All Black side with another week together in the camp, like finding their feet? They're probably gonna be even more potent the next week. That's what I was thinking. And but it shows, like, in terms of coaching, Andy Farrell knows what he's doing. He's with those players on a daily basis. We're not, so we can sit and talk about who we think he should play, but in reality, we don't know what the fuck we're talking about. And how could we? Because we don't have access to that camp. We don't see those. We don't see what he sees. And Andy Farrell showed that he was absolutely justified in starting that team. And to be honest, like I'm gonna get into the game, but the first half was the most fucking hectic, just erratic first half I've ever seen. I think you had three yellow cards and a red card. Two yellow cards and a red for the All Blacks, and one yellow card for Ireland. And I'm trying to even remember all the players who got booked and who got sent off. I think that winger, Leicester. I'm trying to get his name right. Fanganuku, yeah. He and that's the other thing. Like, the discipline from the All Blacks was atrocious. It was really, really, really bad. Like, really bad. I'm talking like schoolboy bad. Like, but the from what I've been hearing, that's the way. Like the referees have kind of let the Super Rugby teams away with it, because they want to let the game flow. They don't want to stop the game, and the Kiwi players tend to get the rub of the green, like off the referees in Super Rugby. But when it comes to World Rugby, the Northern Hemisphere teams have done a much better job in like managing around player safety and around discipline, and they play a much more disciplined game, so as not to kind of leave leave it at the mercy of the referees. I think a lot of referees maybe in the past did pander to the All Blacks, and Ireland were lucky to get a referee who who was fair, because I mean, let's be honest, like that was fucking retarded shit that we were saying, players going flying in head first to other players. I mean, I can't remember another game or another team that I've seen worse discipline for. The discipline from the All Blacks was absolutely atrocious. But to be honest, Ireland didn't even need that to beat them. Like Ireland scored all their points, I think, when they had an even number of players on the pitch to the All Blacks. The first half, like I thought Ireland pretty much shut New Zealand down completely. They scored a try early. Andrew Porter, um, I mean he has to be man of the match. You know, he got Ireland's two tries, but I mean New Zealand couldn't get a sniff of it for the first 25 minutes, and then they had, you had all the disciplinary issues, the yellow cards, red cards before half time, and it was just it was actually difficult to process everything that was going on, because there was so much going on, and it was very like stop start with all these discipline issues. And yeah, it was just, honestly, you have to watch it, especially that first half. You have to watch it to understand how like hectic it was, and how disjointed the whole thing was. But Ireland didn't really let the All Blacks in with a sniff until like just around the half time mark, when the first red zone trip, if you like, from the All Blacks came off the back of, I believe it was a scrum. I think it was a scrum. It was a weird one. The ball it could have been, it might have been a ruck now, but the ball just bobbled out, and Bowden Barrett like controlled it with his feet, and just pounced on the try line, and it was just a nice bit of control with his feet, but it was quite fortunate. But you were kind of thinking like half time here, Ireland only have 3 points to show for it. Like it kind of, it was a slight bit of it was a slight bit of concern. But second half, man, like Ireland, it was beautiful game management. Ireland managed the game beautifully. Johnny Sexton was the conductor of that orchestra. Like I have no doubt, without Sexton, we don't see it. We don't see that Ireland performance. We just don't see it, because for one, Ireland conceded a lot more tries without him. That's a fact. For two, he's an integral leader and an integral cog in the wheel. He's like a quarterback. If you watch the American football, he's like the quarterback. So you can understand why Farrell put on a 37-year-old Johnny Sexton even after all these HIA scares, because that's the difference between Ireland beating the All Blacks in New Zealand and, oh, just another, oh well, they gave it the old college try, but it's the All Blacks. But the All Blacks didn't look like the All Blacks. That's the other thing. The All Blacks didn't look like the All Blacks. The All Blacks haven't really looked like the All Blacks since probably the World Cup, probably the Rugby World Cup, probably when Steve Hansen, and who else was there? The All Blacks, Kieran Reid. Kieran Reid, yeah, that's the key player they lost after the World Cup. I mean, I've always loved to watch New Zealand play, but the aura is gone. The aura of invincibility, it's gone. It's not there anymore, and the discipline has gotten a lot worse. And they're not getting away with the things they were getting away with before. And I mean, at the moment, let's be honest, they're not really the market leaders anymore in terms of world rugby. Like, like the great All Blacks teams of the past. They're just not up to scratch, and it's difficult to know where to point the finger. Like the obvious choice would be Ian Foster. I mean, he, as I personally don't think that he would strike fear into the opposition coach like with his tactics or any. I think anybody could take the squad that the All Blacks have and get them into like the top 3 or 4 in the world. I'm hearing that they're looking at Scott Robinson, and I don't really watch all that much Super Rugby, but I believe you know like if New Zealand, maybe the best thing for the All Blacks would be to lose this series, because if they lose, then they have no choice. They have to pull the plug. They have to bring Robinson in 15 months before the World Cup. Doesn't matter. Like you have to bring him in. You know. I just feel like if the All Blacks win the final game, that's just going to prolong the inevitable for Ian Foster. I don't think Ian Foster is the man going forward to lead the All Blacks. And I don't think the players are really buying into what he's doing, or kind of playing from. Ireland seem to have a much better nous. Like they seem to have a much better understanding of what the coach wanted them to do when they had the ball, when they didn't have the ball. The All Blacks just they didn't seem like themselves, But like this is it's phenomenal for Northern Hemisphere rugby. You've also got Wales and England winning, and I mean I've been so wrong with my predictions so many times. And I think that I actually did pick the All Blacks to beat Ireland in Test Two, just off the back of Test One. And you kind of learn as an Irishman like to have tempered expectations, because I mean there's been heartbreak so many times for Irish rugby fans in the past, especially with New Zealand. But now I can actually confidently say I think Ireland are going to reach a semi final. Not I mean, win the World Cup. That's dreamland. But like for us, the Holy Grail has been reaching the semi final. And Ireland are either going, assuming obviously they beat Scotland. Ireland are either going to get the All Blacks or France in the quarter final. We're used to playing France in away, where Ireland are, they've had mixed results away to France over the last few years. But I'd give them a decent chance, I suppose, against the French. But honestly, at this moment in time, I honestly think the All Blacks are a better matchup for Ireland, and I think that's gonna, like, win or lose the last test. That will do absolute wonders for the Irish confidence if they have to play the All Blacks in a World Cup. Because make no mistake, this was a game of significance. This was a game that mattered, and Ireland showed that they can actually get it done when it matters. And this is a very good omen going forward for Irish rugby. New Zealand fans, I'm sorry for your loss, but even on your worst day, you're still like number 4 in the world. Good luck in the next test. Peace.